today about the Second Amendment, okay? And the reason I want to talk about the Second Amendment is because of the second fatal shooting by ICE officials in Minneapolis. Now, all of you, I'm sure, have seen the videos which contradict what Trump and DHS is saying happened, okay? I mean, their narrative is that this guy was violently brandishing a gun and they were basically afraid they were going to die and they shot him. And of course, when you look at the video, none of that's true. Okay. And then their story changed. Well, he was holding a gun or he had a gun and it had a magazine. Now, the Second Amendment gives people the right to bear arms. Okay. And the person who was shot dead had a legal permit to carry the gun. So ICE would have you believe that because he carried the gun, it gave them a right to shoot him dead. And that, in the wildest imagination of what the law might say, is not true. There is nothing in the law that says if you carry a gun legally that you can be shot by the government. Okay. The bottom line here is the Second Amendment is not really the issue because ICE is claiming that that's why they shot him because he was carrying a gun. So, minus the fact that that's a pure lie, and minus the fact that the ICE agents seem to be going hog wild doing whatever they want because they think they have absolute immunity. That's not the case. There is a huge difference between carrying a gun legally and brandishing it so that the person on the other side thinks that they're about to be killed. Okay? Obviously, if he was in fact taking his gun out of his pocket, pointing it at the ICE official or officials, and they thought they were an imminent threat of death, then and only then could the ICE officers shoot in order to save their own lives. By no means does the fact that the person who was shot dead, the citizen who was legally carrying a gun, but not brandishing it, not pointing it at ICE officials, not putting their lives in danger, not one scintilla of law, regulation, cases, or anything, Constitution allowed ICE to shoot him. Okay? So while I am discussing the Second Amendment, I'm also discussing why the Second Amendment doesn't really apply here. When all's said and done, these masked agents who are trying to hide who they are and seeming that they have absolute immunity to simply go and kill U.S. citizens, eventually justice will catch up and they will be prosecuted for murder because that's what it is. It's not second-degree murder. It's not manslaughter. It's murder. Okay? And when you look at the further facts, they tried to get the witnesses out of there. They tried to make it so that medical help would not come. I mean, there's a statement from a doctor who was going to help this person, and he was not allowed to go help. And he said they were more interested in turning him on his side and counting the bullet holes in his body rather than seeing if, in fact, there was a way to save him based on the situation. So when we're talking about the Second Amendment and the right to bear arms, that does not give full immunity on the other side to shoot the person and kill them. Okay. So It's really comes down quite simple, which is why there's really not much more to say here, other than what it is and what happened, okay? And the fact that Minneapolis will not have the federal government do an investigation is quite logical because they'll just lie about it. They'll totally lie. Even with all the videos, even with all the witnesses, even with all the firsthand reports, they'll just lie about what happened. So there's certainly no credibility that an investigation conducted by the federal government, who essentially is authorizing these ICE officials to go hog wild and kill and terrorize US citizens, it just isn't going to happen, okay? So given that, try to make sure that it's clear where the Second Amendment ends and where the right for self-defense begins, and make up look and see what the government's saying versus what you see with your own 2 eyes with all the videos from the different angles, okay? Alright, everybody have a good day.